Welcome everyone to episode 271 of Just Joshing. I'm your host Joshua Pantellaresco. I write stuff and podcasts too. Today, Pamela Kenney joins the podcast. Pamela was definitely a very cool individual. It was cool to meet her at the Calgary Public Library. We had a fun little chat. I'm looking forward to that conversation. As you can listen to, as you hear my sponsors this month, I am now officially sponsored by Indie Imprint. I'm really proud of this. There's going to be a ton of giveaways from Indie Imprint going forward from a variety of creative people. You've already kind of got a bit of a taste of that last month with Adam Dries. Adam's book 5 Critical Things is part of their deal, and maybe I'll get some more books down the road, but they're going to be giving me a bunch more stuff to give away. I'm going to be giving away a book by Jess Alter, Man and Brother. I'm also going to be giving away some other stuff I'm going to announce at the end of the show. So there'll be a new giveaway link, and from there just put in your email and go for it. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really thankful for this. I want to take a minute to thank Talina Winters and Adam Dries both personally. Adam, thank you very much for sponsoring me last month. Talina, thank you very much for your part in this as well. It has been very cool to watch the giveaway part of my podcast grow. It's been fun. I've enjoyed this. I really enjoy the aspect of actually encouraging people to read. I more enjoyable than I thought it would be, actually. And yeah, it's fun. I'm looking forward to giving away cool stuff, but I'm not just giving away books anymore. I'm giving away video games. I'm giving away a few other cool things like music. I can't wait. I'm going to be getting a shipment sometime real soon, but with some CDs. I'm going to be giving away music, some heavy metal. I'm a metal guy. I love it. It's so cool. Like I said, I'm very happy about where things have been going this way, and I can't wait to what the future holds. This Thursday at IFLA, I am doing a presentation on crowdfunding. I'll be talking about why I'm no longer on Patreon, for the time being anyway, and what I've learned from crowdfunding from a variety of different things. Because if you remember, way back in episode 140, I talked about my teeth, and that was my crowdfunding episode there, so I've experienced there, and I have Patreon coming up as well. So all in all, I'm really excited for what's coming up. Make sure you check out the Raven Podcast, wherever you're listening to mine, ravenpodcast.com. Jason Lavelle has a great show. You should definitely listen to it. Beyond all that, yeah, let's just get to our conversation with Pamela, shall we? Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint brings your creations to life. They believe in indies helping indies, and they have been known to contribute to everything from game jams to NaNoWriMo and everything in between. As a creator, you just bring your work to them, whether you're a writer, musician, or video game designer, or whatever the case may be, and they will help you format, proof, and distribute your project to a variety of different avenues. For more information, check them out at info@indieimprint.com. And by the Raven Podcast. The Raven Podcast is the brainchild of Jason Lavelle. Each episode, he actually narrates a story from an author, and then him and the author get together and they do an interview about the story. This is a perfect commute podcast on the way to work. They're short and very memorable. I really dig Jason's take on interviews and how he conducts himself in telling stories. He's an awesome narrator. He's a great guy, and this is a great podcast. Check it out at theravenpodcast.com or at any podcast app you are aware of. So I am with a very, very nervous Pamela Kenney right now in the Calgary Central Library. So I have one question for you, Pamela. Do you have anything incriminating you'd like to confess to? And if it is you, make it good, because this is a podcast and people are listening. It has to be entertaining at least.
No.
No?
Not at this time.
No, not this time. You are completely innocent. There's a halo on your head.
That's right.
Ignore the horns, right? You just ignore it. It's just decoration.
Focus on the halo.
Oh, focus on the halo. Okay, gotcha. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
My usual serious self on a Sunday afternoon, like we were talking off the air. I had some really good news today with getting a pretty big sponsorship for me. Mm-hmm. So I really can't complain about very much. So it's about to rain out there. I guess I could complain about that, but I learned a long time ago that you're not supposed to get mad at it. You can't really get mad at the rain. Yeah. There's no point.
It won't affect it.
One way or the other.
Listen to your criticism.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, you can criticize the rain, but I don't really know how constructive that is. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, so you have been doing like you have a thing for diamonds, I see here. So is this just diamonds are a girl's best friend? Kind of just one day came to a story for you, or just was one of those, or as a girl?
I had a an idea for the main character to be an anti-hero, a jewel thief named Vivian Fraser, who's she likes diamonds, and so I've always liked humorous crime fiction, so I really wanted to write in that vein. Excuse me. So yeah, I have a series of.
You have a series of humorous things with involving a cat burglar, like essentially, right?
Basically, yeah, she's a thief, and then she happens to. There's a love interest with a cop, so we'll see if that works out or not. Yeah.
It's actually not that surprising. I look at it kind of like this, like I have friends who were police officers. If things had gone just a little differently, they would have been amazing crooks. It's not, and it makes sense. It's basically it's heads and tails. Like they're on two sides of the same line. So I could see the appeal. But you're not going to give away the happily ever after, are you? No.
No.
She's just nodding.
No. Not gonna do it.
So I guess based on just my impression of you, I'm guessing you have a very dry sense of humor.
Yeah, very kind of a sarcastic kind of dry British humor. I always like that kind of wit.
Yes. Anyone in particular?
I really like Donald Westlake books. And his are very, and Richard Stark, he wrote the Parker books, and they're very...
Parker books are dark.
Yeah, they're very dark.
They're very dark.
Donald Westlake also wrote those Dortmunder books, where Dortmunder is a character where he would plan these elaborate robberies or whatever, and something would always go wrong, so he'd have to plan it again, and something would go wrong, and he'd have to plan it again, so it was very complicated.
So he was like the Wile E. Coyote of fiction there. He would plan out these elaborate schemes to catch his roadrunner, but something would go wrong.
Something always went wrong.
So was it the product placement? Like lately, I always thought that Wile E. Coyote's biggest mistake was trusting Acme. Because Acme always would send him something that was defective.
That's right.
Right. I don't know if that was the case though with Westlake. Was that the case? Was it like was it bad product choice, or was it something? Or was it something else?
It was always something different. Like he had this crew of characters around him who were like, sometimes they would screw up, and sometimes there was a whole bunch of different scenarios.
Would he get in his own way every time?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He'd always succeed in the end, eventually.
Yeah, but he would succeed in spite of himself?
In spite of all these, in spite of his co-workers, in spite of his the circumstances, in spite of everything, he'd pull it off somehow.
And so I'm guessing Vivian here is kind of under the same cloth. Things go wrong all the time.
Things are going wrong, and she has to stick it to the bad guy in the end.
Stick it to the bad guy. So she's not really. So definitely a sense of honor then. Definitely a sense of honor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even though she's on the bad side of life, she has a good moral code, and she wants what's best for her.
Just has a weakness for diamonds, which I suppose is fair. I mean, my grandmother has a weakness for diamonds. I mean, everybody. I like they say.
Well, that's more of her family is a crime family, and she was raised in this family, and this is all she knows. Yeah, so it's trying to get out of this life that's proving to be difficult for her.
Well, it's hard because people. I mean, just as a general rule of thumb, people. If you know someone well enough, right, you get the sense that it's really easy to pigeonhole somebody into like a particular role. Like you're that guy, or you're that woman, or you're that pronoun, whatever the case may be, and in that sense, you're like you pigeonhole somebody into this box. And the truth of the matter is, none of us fit any of those kind of boxes. You know what I mean? We all have layers to us, right? In your case, you like humor. You were definitely an academic, right? As we were talking about at off the air. But there's more to you. Like there's other layers. There are things you do that you're not going to necessarily discuss here. But there are thoughts, goals, or like you're more of a person. Whereas same with like Vivian, she's more than just a crook. She's something else. She's trying. Does she know what she wants to be?
She wants to be an artist. Yeah, she has skills in that area, but can't support herself with that. So has to depend on her skills as a thief to support herself.
I see. So if she ever succeeds at her art, she quits.
Yes.
Could she quit though? Like, I mean,
well, sometimes some of them she can't because she's helping family. She has other obligations. Like her family wants her to continue with what she's very good at what she does.
Okay, I bring this all up only because, again, the other aspect of this too. I'm learning this personally is as I've become more well known and more successful in what I'm doing, I look at my good habits and I look at my bad habits, right? And trying to break your bad habits, not so easy. Some of them are easy to break. Some not so easy to break. We all have our proclivities that way. We're none of us are perfect, but so I could just imagine maybe down the road. I mean, that'd be an interesting way to put it. Like she gets to that thing she's always wanted, but she's still got other things.
Other things dragging her back.
Yes. Just when I'm out, they pull me right back in.
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
Godfather.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But it's very much a human condition thing. It's about what you want to become versus who people think you are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So, is this like a forever series, or do you have like an ending in mind?
Right now, it's ongoing. Yeah. It's hard to know how to, so it'll probably continue. But
like you're not bored of this by any stretch of the imagination.
No. But I'm working on other projects too. Like I'm working on a lot of short stories, and I have a short story collection out.
Oh.
One of my short stories is going to be in the new Coffin Hop Press. It's putting out a new anthology.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's a new noir one, and I'm going to be in that one. So. I
tried a noir story a while back, like a novella kind of thing.
Yeah.
I might finish it at some point because it's nearly done, but it's really dark. It starts in a dark place and it just gets darker. Right?
Yeah.
But also I found it really hard for me because in my case I wrote a character I didn't like.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's a character if I met on the street I would not respect.
Yeah, that's very hard to make like that.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's a hard headspace. I mean, he's easy to write, but at the same token, he's also I'm not sure there's room for if I really wanted to. I could do a sequel to this, or I could just kill him off. And I'm not sure what the right ending is on that yet.
But when it's dark like that, you don't really want to live in that kind of headspace for any length of time, right?
Exactly.
It starts to affect your.
Well, that's just it. That's why, like I can churn out a couple thousand words in it really fast. Mm-hmm. But at the same token, it's like this is dark shit. This is.
Like I was thinking of one that involved a serial killer, but I'm like, I don't think I want to spend my life with that kind of.
Well, you don't have to. Well, it's. I mean, we all write where we're comfortable. We all write. Like, I love the expansion, like making a character like this. Mm-hmm. It was cool to know that I could write a character that dark if I really wanted to. Mm-hmm. It just, I understood C.S. Lewis with the Screw Tape Letters. Like, it's fun writing the bad guys. It is very fun to write the bad guys, but it's easier to do that when you know they're going to get their comeuppance.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, in your story. Whereas, I mean, even though in the real world bad guys don't always get their comeuppance either. We don't live in a fair world. Right. At the same token, it's a hard headspace to stay in for any length of time. Like I can do it for a few weeks, but a few months, I have a unicorn that talks in wingdings in my book. I'm just about finished, and that's way more fun to write.
Yeah, that's why I like to have humor, and most of my work has humor in it, so it really.
It's fun for you?
Yeah, and it makes your day, to write something that's.
So we were talking about humor. So what's your favorite? What was the most fun you had writing any of the humor you have in your stories?
I have a short story collection called Tales from Buttercup, and I'm really proud of that one because it's full of these quirky characters who live in this fictional small town. And one of the stories is called Troublemaker from Buttercup, and it's the main character is this old guy who escapes from a senior citizen home, and he goes to find the loot that he buried years and years ago when he held up a bank. But now that he's a senior, he needs some dough, and he thinks he left it in this one house, but he can't quite remember. He's not totally sure. The faculties aren't all there, so I really like that one. It was like more of a.
Best thing is even if he's right, there's so many things that can go wrong. Someone might have one day had found all this money and go like, hey, my problems are solved. The other part could be also that you got the wrong house. It's next door. Oops. How do you explain that to the homeowner? So listen, I robbed a bank like 20 years ago. The rights of I'm scot free. The statutory rights on this is so it's my money, and I was just coming to collect it, and oops, sorry about your house.
Yeah, so that collection is full of quirky characters like that.
Yes. So that's kind of humor. Are you more comfortable with, shorts or novels?
I've written quite a few shorts. These Diamond books are longer. Yeah, I haven't written anything super long. I'm working on getting longer as I go. So.
Do you want to get longer, or are you happy at the short space you're at now?
I'm kind of moving more toward longer pieces, so I think eventually I'll be getting up to longer and longer.
Say 70, so how long is an average novel, about 40,000 words kind of deal?
Yeah.
And you're moving towards 50, 60? Or a little less?
Yeah, probably around 60.
Not bad. That's a dime novel. Dime novels are good.
Well, I think people are reading shorter these days, do you think? Because they don't have as much time in a shorter read?
It's not even that. I think it's okay. So here's the thing. I am interviewing you on the phone right now. I'm using my phone to record this interview. Now, if I want to, let's say I catch the C train and go home. Okay? So I have 20 minutes, let's say, to my stop. I can read a short little piece in 20 minutes. Like that. Right? Phone doesn't really benefit someone that wants to read a 100,000 word novel. I mean, you can do it, but it doesn't feel the same on a phone. Whereas if you have a book in front of you, it feels very different. But the shorter piece, something around 40, 50, 60,000 words, which is what I call like your Tarzan novel, your Louis L'Amour Western, right? Those can be read really quick. They're I'm not going to say formulaic exactly, but there's a certain comfort, it's the right size for the mediums we use today. Our mediums are not television anymore. Our mediums aren't, the mediums are phone. Like our tricorder is our medium today. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was listening to or read something, and it said, in developing countries, people, they skip the computer. They've gone straight from, what they had before to phones. They don't have a computer. And they read on their phone. They live on their phone, and that's how they.
it's how they communicate, right? And if you go in Europe's big on trains. You take the train across countries. You know what you're going to do? If you're going to read, or you're going to listen to something like my podcast, right? Or you're going to listen to a radio show or music. So the phone has made like the smaller burst, quiet stuff work. Television has consequently lost power as a result of this, because who has time to sit down at the TV at the end of the day when you have this access to anything you want on the phone? That's the other thing too. Everything's accessible at once.
That's right. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So shorter works actually make sense because, at least a degree of sense, simply because a shorter work encourages. A shorter work encourages. How do I put this? It feels like an investment you can put in. Like you're looking at your time investment going to work. You're looking at your time investment coming from going to dinner somewhere or going to a movie, or you don't have time for like maybe those big moments, but you have time, like you don't like a book like Brandon Sanderson. I love Brandon Sanderson, but his books are daunting.
Okay.
Some of them, right? But say Craig DeLuise, submarine series, Crash Dive, they're 30,000-40,000 word books. I can do that. I can do that in 3-4 days. 100,000, that's 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Do I really want to invest 2 weeks into a book? Right?
Especially if it's a new author that you don't want to take a chance on.
Right. But whereas if you have a 30,000 word book or a 40 or 50,000 word, which is really good, anywhere in that range, you have something that people can read relatively quickly, enjoy the ride really, really quickly, and then move to whatever other projects you have.
Right.
Right. So you have 5 books. It looks like right now. So those 5 books together come to about one big giant novel, but it's in pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's like I read one, I like it. Do I want to do the next one? Maybe not right now, but I'll read it eventually. I'll go to something else. Maybe I'll come back to it later because it's quick. Book 2, and it's the same thing. Maybe it's a little longer. It should be. Continuity is a big thing in series. You have to keep memorizing what happened.
Right. So you can be familiar with the characters, all the characters.
Well, it's also so you keep the integrity of your work up. Like continuity is important. Like for example, let's say Vivian, for example, became a vegetarian after book 1. We're saying this hypothetically.
Right.
So book 2, you can't have her eat a hot dog. I mean, you just can't, right?
That won't work.
That won't work. But it's those little things that create integrity. Like you look at something like, say, Sherlock Holmes. One of the reasons, I think Doyle grew to hate the character because the character wasn't consistent after he came back from the death. Right? He came back from after dealing with Moriarty. He comes back. I mean, it's the triumphant return, which is great. But like when you saw Holmes as a younger guy, he was very much, if you fit, young, bored, did coke because he was bored. But there's no challenge in his life. But he was very consistent then. When he came back, he was a little bit more fragile. Sometimes he'd get his butt kicked. Sometimes he'd lie. Kind of abandoned Watson and Hound of the Baskervilles. You got this sense that the continuity. So I found Holmes post when his return is nowhere near as consistent as he was when he first showed up.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Right? I think the author stopped caring.
Right. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what do you like to read?
I'm reading a lot of Marjorie Allingham right now, she's a contemporary of Agatha Christie, and her stuff she can really paint a picture. You really get a sense of the setting and like describing the way a person is reacting to everything. It's really evocative.
Nice. What do you do for fun when you're not writing? What do you do?
I like watching movies and TV series and.
You a binger?
A binger?
No, a binger.
binger. Yeah, I try to get like a whole set from the library actually, and watch it all. Like I was watching X Company. CBC did a series called X Company, which is about Camp X, which is a camp for spies in World War II, set in Ontario, and it's based on what Canadian spies did over in France during World War II. Really good series.
Nice.
It was 3 seasons. Yeah, so I was watching that whole series all through.
That's good. So that is that your kind of stuff you enjoy? Like historical kind of stuff? Like
I like historical. I like Firefly. I really like Firefly.
A lot of people like Firefly, yes.
That was a perfect series. What else do I like? I liked Princess Bride. I liked, that kind of like hero fighting the bad guy type of a thing, and also with a humorous element.
Oh yeah, the Princess Bride it's snarky, very very snarky. Yeah.
Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was. What are other ones I like? I'm drawing a blank here now that someone's asking.
Well, it's just I'm just trying to get a better sense of who you are as a person, right? So just like, what's your story? Why would you want to it's great that you're writing stuff. I'm not saying that, but what's the story you're telling behind the story? Something I realized with my work, in particular, I'm writing about stuff that matters to me, right, and in some way or another, the Cloud Diver. The idea is it's the Matrix meets Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Right,
yeah.
so that's a cool concept, right? But but the story is really about getting out of your comfort zone and realizing where you are in your life and where you need to go from here. Like when you realize that you're in a place that you're kind of in a circle, and you need to break that cycle somehow, some way. That's a big part of that story, and it reflects what's going on a lot in my life right this moment, which I think is relevant to everybody, right? We all write about things that matter to us or things we're trying to say. So, what are you trying to say?
So bigger themes.
No, just not even bigger things. I tend to believe the best stuff, our best stuff, is the stuff we believe in the most, whatever that is, and that when that comes out there, that's what really speaks to people.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Because that's what I find with books or movies that have a bigger theme to them, that have more of a soul to them, that they're the ones that really stick with you and really really resonate. So it's for instance, with Princess Bride.
Yeah.
You've got it's action, adventure, swashbuckling, yucks here, humor there, blah blah blah. But the major theme is that true love conquers all, and it really resonates with people. That it's that's would be wonderful if true love could conquer all. So
it can, but sometimes I just my own romantic history personally. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's the right thing at the wrong time. Right? It was great in this moment, but this is for now as far as we can go. I just had a girlfriend I just recently parted ways with from a relationship standpoint, because it's just at this point in both our lives, it's just we care, but it's not quite the right time for it. She has some things she needs to do. I have things I need to do. Right? So it's more like we're not ready for it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So how about you? You said when you said that, it's like true love doesn't always conquer.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's an urban myth or not.
You don't know?
I don't know. it's something to explore in writing.
Writing? Okay. All right. Well, let's see. So the Coffin Hop is your next project then?
Yeah, that's one of my short stories is going to be in that
Okay.
anthology.
All right. But will there be? Is there anything else coming out this year?
I have a short story in the short story dispenser in this library. Actually, it's this machine where you go and you can push a button and get a 1-minute story out, and that's one of my stories is in there.
Okay.
And they're going to be making a anthology from the Calgary authors who are in that short story dispenser, so I'm going to be in that anthology too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a very cool idea of having this machine that spits out a story.
It's an old concept. Ray Bradbury used to write short stories on this typewriter, but he only had an hour or like 2 hours to write these stories. And so that's it. He put the money in and he wrote a story, and when it was done, it was done. It's a cool challenge because when you give yourself a constraint like that, you can come up with some cool stuff. Sometimes you come up with terrible stuff, but you come up with some really interesting ideas, right? Because you have to focus on just like one thing.
Right. You have that time pressure that focuses your mind.
Well, we all respond like it's, when there's stakes, we all respond. Like for example, if I said to you, you have 3 years to come up with a novel. You're probably not even gonna think about it for like 2 of it. Like maybe the second year you'll think about it a little bit,
Right.
but you're like, I got time. I got other things I can do, right? But then you get to the third year, you're like, oh shit, I should be farther ahead than this, and I need to get work cracking because by nature we're procrastinators. But if I said you have 2 weeks, now I'm not sure you can get a novel done in 2 weeks, but you might be able to at least have a draft of it done in 2 weeks if you pushed yourself. And suddenly you're like, holy crap, I wrote all of this. One of my novels right now, I have a novel, I handwrite all my stuff. I'm on my second notebook on this novel. This is my make a mess draft. It's all mess.
Right.
But it's great. It's a good mess. And it comes out easy when I write it. It's like blah, 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 blah. It's not just like, hey, a paragraph. No. 5 pages, 10 pages, 20
nice.
pages, like just fly out.
Right.
No problem. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, I'm near the end of this. I'm getting to now, like I know after I'm done editing this novel, I'm going to finish that novel in terms of the mess will be made. Right, I'll let the mess sit for a while and work on something else for a little bit, and then come back to it in like say August and go, okay, this was the mess. Let's see if we can make something out of that. So how about you? Do you plot? Do you have like a master plan with cue cards and flow charts, or do you kind of go, no, I'm just gonna figure this out as I go?
I used to figure it out as I went, but lately I've been working more with plotting and have a general outline of what I want to happen and what's going to happen in the middle and what's going to happen at the end, and then it's going to be, but then fleshing it out afterwards, after I have that outline, so that it's more, I have some kind of roadmap. I know what's going to be happening eventually.
Does it still veer the other way every once in a while?
Yeah, every once in a while, because, characters can take over and say, I want to go this way and I want to do this.
Do you let them?
Yeah, usually.
Usually?
Usually it's like I'll be writing along and then I'll be trying to get the character to do something, and then I'll get, 10 pages in and be like, no, the character wouldn't do this. And I have to stop and go back.
But it's cool that you let yourself make your messes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the bet? Oh, okay, so what was your chocolate chip cookie idea? And this is what I mean by this. Chocolate chip cookies were an accident.
Oh, okay.
They were an accident. They were the chocolate chips that ended up in cookie dough, and little did everybody know that would be awesome, but it was. Right? But when you make a mess, sometimes, like, sometimes you have just a mess, and sometimes you have chocolate chip cookies, right? So what was yours? Like, this was the coolest mess I've ever made.
I would say it's probably Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Motive, which is the first book in this series, because I had this, I knew what was going to happen at the beginning, and then, things were going off left and right, and then I had to, like, rein it in and,
Like be specific. Like, how, like, what do you mean by they would go left and right?
Well, I knew, like, the beginning caper and how it was going to start, and then I was saying, she should go here and do this, with these characters here, but it wasn't working out. I needed it to be more. I'm finding it hard to describe it anyway.
Well, like, you needed more of a punch. Needed more like more plausibility, more implausibility. Like what? Like
more. Like I wanted it to be more action adventure.
So a little bit more punch.
Or more to have more of a beat and a rhythm and a thing, and this is happening, then this, and this and this and this, and more punchy. So it was starting to go off the rails kind of, and I had to shovel it into more of a chocolate chip cookie.
So how'd you do it?
A lot of rewrites. Yeah, a lot of rewrites, because and that would have see, with that one it was more like this in my pants writing, that one would have really benefited from more of an outlining process at the beginning.
No,
I think.
No. I find most authors don't start plotting. I find here's the catch when you're starting: if you plot everything, you never actually write it. And when you write, like when you're starting, and so the best thing for an author starting is to write it, and let yourself go left turns, right turns, like figuring out what spaghetti, like what spaghetti that each one on the wall sticks. So when you write your next novel, okay, you know that this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. You may not have all the details on how you get there, but you know these things are gonna happen. And you know where you're more comfortable, like what left turns you're comfortable taking, and what left turns are probably going to put you into the expressway.
That's right. Or off the ditch or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I think beginning authors, by necessity have to pants. I think that it's a requirement, because you get, I got this nice massive plot and it's immaculate and amazing, then go write it. I don't know what I'm doing. Whereas the pantser's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go. Right.
Just right.
Yeah, exactly. I think there has to be a moment of courage. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna take the plunge. Actually, that might be a good final question for you. Why did you take the plunge?
To write.
Yeah, like you said, okay, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Motive. You're like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. Fuck it. I'm doing it. So what was the moment for you?
Like we were saying off air, I started writing when I was at university and had a lot of traditionally published things at university and freelance writing and things like that. But then I had to put that on hold and go and work in the engineering field to support myself. But it was very horrible work conditions and very stressful, and I hated it, and I really wanted to write my whole life. So then when the industry tanked, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna write. I've always wanted to write, and I'm doing it.
It sounds like for you need to get a little bit of a jarring out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And when you got out of it and you realized that maybe You feel like someone that's very comfortable in structure and security. Is that a fair assessment?
Well,
I'm just saying comfortable. I'm not saying you necessarily need it, but you're comfortable in it.
it's better than not being comfortable.
I get you.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up is because the one thing that a lot of people in Alberta thought was that oil and gas would always exist, as it was. And then one day, it doesn't anymore. And you were one of the people that were, I'm not going to say victimized exactly, but you were a casualty of these changes. So all of a sudden, all those securities and comforts are gone. And then you're like, well, and maybe I'm wrong on this assessment. You're like, well, this is gone. Screw it. Right? Is that right?
Well, I mean, I've been working for years to build to this point where I could write.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I knew the industry was not stable. I mean, it's been up and down for decades, right?
Yeah.
So I was working toward this point. It's not like
it wasn't a total surprise.
It wasn't a shock.
No, you were ready for it, though.
Yeah, and this is what I was building toward.
Okay.
So.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So has it gone as you thought? Has it gone as you thought it would?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with the feedback I'm getting, and people really. I go to book readings and read my books, and I really have a good response, and I'm getting a good feedback from people, and I'm getting more traditionally published again, like with anthologies and sending out my short stories and stuff. So I'm really happy with the way that it's going.
So do you want to become more traditional, or do you want to keep being an independent?
I really like the hybrid aspect, because this whole self-publishing thing didn't exist when I started back in university, and it's fantastic what you can do now with if you have great ideas, you can put them out yourself. You don't have to wait for a gatekeeper somewhere to decide if they have space for you, so you can pursue your own projects, which is fantastic. So I really like the idea of being a hybrid author and having some traditional, some
Thank you for using the Central Library. We'll be closing in 15 minutes.
The library is shutting down.
That's okay. This is fantastic. So if you listen to my podcast, I always keep like the raw, like everything that happens around us in the podcast.
Right.
And the reason I do that is because it feels really that way. People try to have like a very polished podcast, and I think there's definitely validity to it. Like I'm upgrading my microphone equipment and a few other things in the future because I should, and that's life. But that doesn't mean that I'm never, like when I'm at a coffee shop, for example, and there's an order being taken, that order's still in there.
Oh, right.
Right. If a waitress interrupts, or a waiter interrupts, or if someone comes in and says hi, the only stuff I edit is the stuff that will get me sued.
Oh, right.
There was one conversation. It's actually up on there. I edited about 8 minutes of that conversation only because it was one of the creative conversations I had, and I didn't mind that the person there, but we ended up talking about there was an insurance convention going on at the same time.
Oh.
But she worked for the rivals insurance company, so I learned all kinds of things about the insurance company that is there now.
Oh, okay.
That would get me sued. Yeah, so it's like, I can't put that on the podcast. I don't have pockets that deep, right? And that's. But other than that, I try to keep it as raw as I can. So, 15 minutes. So what else can we do? So, So I was about to ask before we were interrupted, and maybe I answered this. So, is there a particular genre you want to get into traditionally versus what you've done now, or would you like to continue like mystery, humor, satire?
I think with my projects, I like more humor and more like action, adventure, and crime fiction and things. But I think traditionally, I think I would like to try some historical mysteries.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that genre.
I could see. It's a good genre. A lot of work, but it's a really really fun genre. So, would you do something like Flashman?
Flashman?
You've never read? Oh, okay. So Flashman's a historical figure. It goes back in time. Different periods in history. They're historical, but they're also very accessible because the thing about historical novels, the great thing about them is they're very historically accurate, but sometimes they're very dense. So Flashman's kind of like one of those ones where you have this very comical character in these different points in history, so you can actually use him as a gateway, a catalyst to tell stories in those eras.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you can look them up, Flashman. Just they're really popular books.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, you might like that. All right, so I think we're at the point where the interview is coming to an end.
Okay.
So plug your current book, whatever, do you know when the Coffin Hop book's coming out?
This summer.
Okay, so do you know July, August kind of deal?
I'm hoping for When Words Collide.
Okay, so it'll be a When Words Collide. Okay, so why don't we promote that and your last Diamond book?
Okay.
And then how people can find you.
The Coffin Hop Press anthology is going to be called Knucklehead Noir, so it's comedic noir, so it's all going to be a lot of fun. And then my Diamond books are on Kobo, and you can get them there. You can check out all my info on PamelaKenney.com is my website, and I'm also on Twitter at pkennywriter. I guess it's at pkennywriter, and it's Kenney.
All right. And that was my conversation with Pamela Kenney, and her books. She's got currently a sale on 50% off her books. Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. The entire saga is now on sale in honor of the podcast. Thanks, Pam, for coming on my show, and you're welcome back anytime. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Beyond all that, though, I'm not just talking about Pam stuff. I'm also talking about stuff I'm giving away. I'm giving away a video game. It's called Space Mercs. It's made by Giant Bearded Games. It's a Steam game. Everybody here is eligible for a Kindle giveaway code. The winner will be just given a Kindle giveaway code. You can download it, download the game, play the game. It's a really fun game. It'll be fun. I'm also giving away Until Undeath Does Us Part by Jess Alter. Jess was a guest last week. I will be doing a random draw next week for a winner. I'm also going to be, actually, for Jess, I'm going to be doing a draw for Thursday. So enter quickly, and I will just send you your Kindle code for that. Because I got a lot of Jess's books I'm going to be giving away in the next month or so. So definitely check that out. Beyond all that, though, guys, that'll do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can support the podcast a number of different ways. You can visit my sponsors. My sponsors are theravenpodcast.com. Jason Lavelle has an amazing show. You should definitely listen to it. Or indieimprint.com. Like I said earlier, if you are an independent creator, they are the people you need to meet and talk to. Check them out at info at indieimprint.com. Take a look at them there. You can support my podcast by subscribing to my podcast. I am on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. I'm also on Podomatic. Just subscribe, leave a review, share the podcast wherever you may. That'd be great. My YouTube channel is Joshua Penteloresco. My Instagram and Twitter is at jpenteloresco. I am on Facebook as Joshua Penteloresco, author, podcaster. And my current books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God, are available through miraclepublishing.com. Beyond all that, thanks for listening, guys. Stay inspired. I will talk to you guys next time.
Josh.